Oh well, here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Tousi TV and another live update. Some breaking news, some reaction from the Metropolitan Police. They are not having a good week. Actually, they're not having a good year in general. They're having a bit of an emotional breakdown over the reporting coming from Tousi TV. So they, instead of actually listening to our advice and criticism, and instead of improving themselves, they've decided to insult us. And it's just a complete mess. Hello to everybody in the live chat. We'll get your reaction as usual during this show. This is all about, obviously this photo has now become iconic of me, Tousi TV representative, during Saturday's chaotic situation where the Islamist protesters and the far left were encountering some counter-protesters from, of course, the pro-Israelis and pro-Jewish side. British patriots were there. And you can see the guy on the right-hand side, the police officer is like, he's not too happy. Why am I filming? They kept asking us, and my friend Stuart, why are you actually reporting this? Why are you filming the arrest? It's because we have to. We don't trust the decisions coming from the top anymore. And you have to listen when it comes to journalism, when it comes to reporting. So you have to, even if it's normal people with just their phones, you have to allow them to scrutinize it. We criticize you because we want you to be better. We are not anarchists. Anyway, I did post this saying that it was at this moment the Met Police knew they effed up, caught live on Tousi TV. Since then, over the last couple of days, we've had a lot of reaction. Today, yesterday and today, we had some interesting statements from the Metropolitan Police in regards to Tousi TV and independent journalism. They basically posted this, saying this is the Metropolitan Police's official account. It gets better, much better. There are not many professions where from the minute you arrive at the incident, you are filmed and then critiqued by armchair commentators. Armchair commentators. This was in response to obviously reacting to our video, our live stream, which exposed the wrongful arrest of a citizen, a civilian in this country, a counter-protester, for simply having a sign that said Hamas are terrorists. Now, they had to release him without any charge because they realized they messed up, but they kept doubling down and they've decided to call us armchair commentators. For the record, if anybody from the Met is watching this, there are no armchairs around. Secondly, most of the time we're actually out on the street and I'm actually reporting that the video they're reacting to is actually me on the street right next to the police officers. There is no armchair on Tousi TV. In fact, I'm going to buy an armchair and sit on it every single day while making fun of the establishment. So let's talk about what's actually been going on, because in case you didn't see, this was the video. This was the moment where they didn't like what I was reporting, and at the end they were like, well, why are you filming this? And then they also, a couple of police officers stopped me from going through, and that was obviously not fair. Whereas Sky News was able to obviously be everywhere, and they were creating this propaganda that, hey, London is not a no-go zone. Look at all the people coming to London every Saturday. It's so diverse and beautiful. Let's go back to that video quickly as a reminder of what we're actually dealing with in this country. There we go. Someone has been arrested. Oh, that's the Iranian guy. This is the British Iranian. That's the British Iranian guy who was arrested last time because he has a sign that says Hamas are terrorists. Ladies and gentlemen, the Metropolitan Police have once again decided to arrest the British Iranian who is here to simply carry a sign that says Hamas are terrorists. This is the counter-protester against the Islamists. Instead of actually protecting him, they've decided to arrest him once again. So this is the guy who has a sign. That's the sign. Yes, that wasn't too happy for the Met. And then, this is a statement they've also released following insulting us. They continued. Across the weekend, we had thousands of Met officers, by the way. They also got a lot of police officers from Manchester and other places. It wasn't all London Met. Working 24/7 in the spotlight, doing the difficult job we asked of them. True. Alongside hundreds of officers from other forces, supporting our central public order operation. Yep. No police officer should be subject to abuse just for doing the job that their public and senior leaders ask them and expect of them. Fair enough, right? Now they're saying there are not many jobs that Basically, people will be in the spotlight all the time, scrutinized, cameras around them. I'm guessing people at the Metropolitan Police do not watch Premier League football every weekend, where the referees and VAR officials are constantly being monitored. I'm guessing they don't know much about any other profession. I don't think they watch Prime Minister's questions on Wednesdays when politicians are being literally in the spotlight in the House of Commons chamber. I don't think they know about, I don't know, the armed forces, the actual frontline battlefield, where you literally have journalists filming every second to scrutinize them. It's not just the police officers. There are many jobs that you have to be in the spotlight and you have to be scrutinized. If you can't take the pressure, don't have the job. That's the simple point. And back in the day when we didn't have this scrutiny, there were, let's just say, a lot of mistakes done by the police, right? And even right now, they're still doing it. And this was an interesting comment in reaction to what I said. They themselves film everything, so why not? Why are they freaking out, the actual police officers who feel under pressure, saying, well, if Tousi TV is there and others like reporting us, we feel under pressure. You are already under pressure because you already have cameras on you where your supervisors and everybody else at the top of the command will be watching to scrutinize you anyway. Whether I'm there or not, and other independent reporters or not, you are already under pressure. You are already being watched anyway. So what are they complaining about? Armchair commentators. Really? Is that what we have? We literally have, on this channel, I personally get emails and comments and messages constantly from Metropolitan Police officers, individual officers, who actually thank me for doing the job that we're doing. They are on our side. And this is not about abusing individual police officers. Not one single time I've actually gone with actually trying to target the individual police officers. If one officer or 2 or 5 or 10 make mistakes, we will hold them to account. But most of the time we are criticizing the command and the top of the chain, and the problem that we have when it comes to the Met becoming weak and feeble on the one hand with one group, and very harsh and authoritarian with the others. So nobody is advocating or condoning behavior to abuse individual police officers. That's not what we're doing. We're criticizing you because we want you to be better. We are not anarchists. That's why I have, and not obviously former officers and current people in the service, as they call them. They can't say force anymore. who could contact me, thanking me. Obviously, they have to do it off the record because they don't want to get into trouble. And they're not allowed to be political, so glad that they're not saying it publicly. We have bigger problems in this country right now than Tousi TV triggering the Metropolitan Police Commissioner. Mark Rowley was behind that statement. Sir Mark Rowley and Sadiq Khan as the Commissioner of the Met in London. If they focus on the real problems, while we are talking about all this, we have our government, British government, once again announcing more funding for Islamic centers, mosques and everything else, protection for them, more money than synagogues and the Jewish community, more money than obviously the churches. In the meantime, you have the Islamic people. This is a video from East London in Stratford, outside the Westfield shopping centre, telling us exactly what is happening. The guy I'm going to show you in the video is actually right. Watch, and they are telling us that Christian churches are going down, Islam is increasing, and you're not going to do anything about it.
In this country, in United Kingdom, and England is part of the United Kingdom, more than 500 churches, which are of course Christian places of worship, more than 500, more than 500 Christian churches have closed. And those more than 500 churches, the Muslims have bought them, and now they are Muslim places of worship, masjid. So which used to be Christian churches, Christian holy places, they are now Muslim places of worship, masjids. So this is the reality. While the number of Christians is going down, the number of Muslims is going up all the time. All right? And this is a big lesson to people who think that Christianity is spreading, who think that the Christians are growing in numbers. No, the Christians are growing less and less, whilst the Muslims are growing more.
He's right. He's absolutely spot on. Even they are telling us exactly what's going on. Yet our politicians and the political class and the Met seem to be thinking that they are the underdogs, and they are the ones dividing us. It's the establishment that are putting us in different categories. They are the ones say, okay, you'll be in the Jewish category, you be in the Islamic one, you be in the LGBT one, you'll be the white straight men. You know, you just sit in the corner, don't say anything. You'll be in the Brexiteer side, you'll be in the Ramona side, you'll be the Labour voter, you'll be the Tory voter. This is what the narrative is doing. They are dividing our society. And then they're blaming us, saying, but you're causing the division. How? You are the ones. Every single narrative, from the media to the political establishment, the House of Commons, every conversation, every policy is there to put us in different boxes. But apparently it's our fault. You are the ones pandering to different groups at different times, which is not consistent. I mean, again, you announce a £70 million package for the Jews in London, in the UK, and then you announce a £117 million package for the Islamic community. You're not even consistent. It makes no sense. None of it makes sense. Crazy. Absolute crazy stuff. Kit Kat's response to the Met calling me an armchair commentator. Yeah, it says, you travel miles to cover the real news. I don't even have an armchair. I listen on the channel. No one in particular says, you need Jeremy Clarkson motorized sofa, Maya. Yes, that's how we do it. If the Met is calling us something, let's get the proper armchair. Voice of Reason says, the whole world is looking and laughing at us, at the UK. It's just sad. How the minorities seek to control grown men in authority is comical and shameful. Yeah, but apparently it's a conspiracy theory. By the way, they assume when we are criticized and when we are, for example, the narrative says you are being controlled, you're being pressured. You know how the media takes it and the political class? They take things literally rather than seriously. So they say, they assume what we are saying, or they pretend that what we are saying is some sort of like a small group of, like, I don't know, Islamic and far left are getting in a room and plotting like Illuminati and controlling politicians. It's the narrative. They don't even have to actually do anything. They're just simply increasing their movement. Mosques are going up. Christian churches are going down. That is the pressure we're talking about. They are completely going to all the institutions and everything else. They are the ones also dividing society because they're doing it in the Islamic ideology. So you have a number of like normal Muslims who are just born culturally Muslim, but they're not really practicing. And they are being affected by it because those who are politically motivated, the Islamic ideology and the Marxist ideologies, they are dragging everybody with them. That's what we mean when we say you're under pressure by them or you're being controlled. Sue says, being devil's advocate for a second, he may be concerned that if you only catch part of the incident, you will miss the context and the police will be wrongly judged. If that were the case, I agree with Sue. Then I will have some sort of sympathy. But every single time, every example that the Met and Tousi TV have clashed is actually being in with the full context. This is not the first time something like this has happened. We filmed the whole thing. Last time before this was also the situation with the Remembrance Day, where we had a group of, obviously, British people, patriots, and Tommy Robinson, who peacefully and quietly attended the service, and then Tommy Robinson got in a taxi and left. I filmed the whole thing. The whole live report is there. The context is there. But I agree with you. If it were a case where things will be out of context, then sure, I get it. But they also have full evidence. They have cameras on them, on their uniforms. And the same people, same officers who complain saying, oh, we're kind of under pressure in the spotlight every time we go to an incident because the cameras like Tousi TV is there. But you already have cameras. Your supervisors are watching. You're already under pressure. What are you talking about? If we get something out of context, they could prove us wrong. They could release the full footage. But they don't. That's the whole point. Philip of Sparta says, anyone can make a mistake. But when someone keeps making the same mistake over and over again, you have to realize that there is something strange going on. That's very true. Because even if they are making the same mistake rather than actual being biased or something like that, even if just benefit of the doubt, mistake, if you're still making the same mistake over and over again, instead of actually not just apologize, I don't care about apologies, just fix it and improve, that means that at best, you're just completely ignorant. Or at worst, you're being arrogant. You say you don't accept it as a mistake. You double down. That's what they keep doing. They've been doubling down over the last few days, since Saturday. They got community noted on X and Twitter. We exposed them. They're still not, again, I don't want an apology. I hate people who demand apologies because they're stupid. But they haven't even done an apology. They haven't actually said, okay, we'll learn from mistakes. I also hate that. But something. They're still doubling down. They are the victims, apparently. The establishment are the victims. Seriously. Well, what's going on in this country? Mickman007 says, Sad IQ Khan must be proud of his police force. Again, you're not allowed to say that. It's police service now. It's not police force. It will hurt the feelings of some people. It's so embarrassing what's going on in this country. We used to have the grown-ups, again, in any sort of position of authority. We're not just talking about the political establishment, any position of authority. Grown-ups. That includes people who used to work at the job centre, to the NHS, the police force, not service, anything. Paramedics, the firefighters, MPs. We had grown-ups with thick skins. What happened to that? Initially, they started pandering to emotional people, emotionally unstable people, and then they started recruiting them, and then they became the irrational snowflakes. I don't know why they're the victims. They are the authority. Blackfish Blue says, thank you for the super chat, by the way. Post-State Prophet says, of course, Islam is growing. They make a ton of kids. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what's happening in this country. The Real Pollyanna super chat, thank you very much, by the way. Buy a soft cushion for your armchair. I know, armchair commentators. Peter Green super chat, thank you. Saying, truth hurts. Everything hurts these days, apparently. Everything is hurtful. Words are violent. It's so stupid. We have actual problems. And even when they are talking about the so-called rise of far right, some sort of imaginary organization which is basically organizing official marches with a flag and a leader. Still don't know who they are, by the way, but apparently they exist, right? Nobody is saying there's no threat from extremists from all sides in every country. But some threats are here, some threats are here, some don't exist yet, but they might be created. You just have to keep an eye on it. Then the more you keep calling every single person, for example, a fascist, and the same problem we had with Donald Trump, the reaction to Trump in 2016, when the Democrats and the media went around calling him and everybody else, also basically Adolf, and every Republican candidate was vilified, including Mitt Romney in 2012. And John McCain, every single person is vilified. They call every single person Adolf, including Trump. The problem with that is that when an actual real life almost similar to Adolf actually comes up in the future, you're not going to notice it. Because just beforehand, you kept calling everybody a fascist. You can't do that. You will miss the real threat. And that threat could come from all corners, all sides. Idiots. Did someone say, because I kept talking about the police force. Phil says, Maya, the force be with you. That's a good comment. Phil wins the comment of the day. Maya, the force be with you. From the river to the sea, UK must be police pig free. I hope this doesn't mean the left-wing version of defund the police, because that's also a stupid idea. Defund the police. They defund the police and there's no one to protect them in Portland and Seattle and all those places. Crazy people. Were they also all failed painters like Adolf? Failed vegetarian as well, by the way. Did not see any of this when we called out the IRA, but when it comes to Islam, you get called bigots, right? Yes, exactly. And sometimes the narrative against the IRA actually went too far. You've had pubs in England saying no Irish person is allowed to come in. That went further when it comes to actual xenophobia against Irish people. There was no reaction from the establishment back then. But now, we're criticizing an ideology is apparently hurting the feelings of the followers of the ideology. If anybody targets an individual out on the streets, whether it's a random police officer or a random Muslim or Jew or Christian, based on their identity, I will call it out. I've always called it out. Because we're not advocating for that sort of behavior. But criticizing ideologies and threats against this country and treason, I don't care if your feelings are hurt. We have to do it. It's not about you personally. It's about what you're representing, which is a threat to our country and the civility of this country and the stability of the country. And they're proudly telling us what they're doing, by the way, when it comes to the politically motivated ideologues from the Islamic world. They are literally proud to say that we're going to turn this country into a Sharia-focused country. But criticizing it is politically incorrect. And it's not just about the Islamic side, it's also about anything else at this point. You know, we were criticizing the lockdown policies of the government and the police were doing a crackdown. But if you organize a protest in support of the BLM movement or Extinction Rebellion, you were allowed to do it during the lockdown, or post-lockdown actually. Secular Muslims are not the problem, but the Islamists are the new Nazis. They both have their narrative. The problem I have, and I've mentioned so many times, is those who call themselves, whether moderate Muslims or secular, basically secular Muslim or moderate Muslim, is basically someone who's just born culturally into an Islamic family, but they don't practice it. That's what they are. The problem is that not enough of them are coming out to speak out against the political ideology of Islam and Islamism. That's also a problem. They're turning a blind eye. Some out of fear. Some, they're still Muslim enough to go with the view that you're not allowed to betray your Muslim brothers. So they are aiding the same thing. They might not be an extremist themselves, but they just can't really see themselves betraying their brothers and sisters. That's a problem. You need to get them to come out to call them out. The enemies. And then when they do it, then we stand side by side. But so far, it's not happening. Kev says, make Crusaders great again. We can't really do it because the Church of England and even Catholic churches are closing down in this country. And obviously the Islamic side are buying them out and turning them into mosques. And they're telling us anyway. Everything Glorious says, Tousi TV is the only hope for broadcasting in the UK. Isn't it sad and depressing? It's a sad state of affairs that we are the hope when it comes to media. It shouldn't have been my job, but obviously it is now. Super chat from Barry Clark. Thank you very much, Mr. Clark, saying the sad reality is that we are being replaced, but you're not allowed to complain about it. And again, it's not just being replaced by, I don't know, the Islamic side or this side or that. It's basically you're just being removed. Anybody who still believes in basic conservative cultural values and sovereignty, flags and border, you are being, it's not again just being about replaced, you're being removed by the rise of globalization, mass migration, and the people who don't believe in our values getting opportunities to be in positions of power. And one by one, we will be removed. Metaphorically, obviously not in terms of like some sort of genocide, but in terms of cleansing as a process. Mothers have been cancelled. You can't say mothers. Straight women, in fact, even feminists are being cancelled now. White straight men, they were cancelled ages ago. One by one, Christian churches cancelled. Every single thing. You're not allowed to have basic traditional views. And at one point, even classical liberal views will be cancelled in the name of this modern left-wing liberalism. And those who are supposed to be our saviors, they're also controlled. Actually, on that note, we have a comment saying GB News controlled opposition. I mean, I don't blame people for seeing things like this. Even the media are disappointing us, they're letting us down. Even the political class. Even the so-called MPs who are supposed to be on our side, you know, the few good ones. Every now and then they also betray us. Going back to the live chat, Tousi TV is the voice of Great Britain. God forbid. And Michelle says, but they're still on Christian land for now. It's Christian land for now. That's the sad reality. This person is absolutely spot on. The reason that there's a massive increase is not just because they're having more babies. It's also because they are more committed. Muslims actually turn up to mosques. Maybe that's why. Yeah. And this is not really some sort of religiously focused preaching to get people to become Christian or turn up to church. It's also just basic conservative values, which comes from Christian values. We don't even have those. So whether you like it or not, you could sit here and complain about the Islamic side and all this and that, but if you're not even protecting your values, who's going to do it? So I agree. Siavash, what's going on with the comments? There we go. I can't even move things anymore. The best way is for Great Britain to import police from India. We've seen how they do it. They know how to deal with Muslims. They are the best Islamologists in the whole world. The thing is, we don't really want to advocate for violence. If you haven't seen the videos from India, it's insane. The way they are tackling the Islamic side. We don't want to advocate for that sort of aggression. But you could have a balance between our current approach, which is basically nothing, and the Indian approach. That used to be the British approach. Actual balance, actual sanity. The British approach in the world throughout history was always to prevent chaos, to prevent this country from getting to this point in the first place. Because they went around the world, they saw the chaos. And at times, the British caused the chaos, obviously, across the world. But, like any other empires, that was just normal back then. But now, we've gone to an extreme point where, for example, when you have Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, when he comes out to advocate for deportation of the Islamists, foreign criminals, illegal migrants, he's the baddie. Ironically, Siavash was right. India is still part of the international community, big player in the United Nations, BRICS, one of our big allies apparently against China. Our prime ministers, our presidents will go around, hug the Indian leaders and Modi. When they are doing that, the aggression against the Islamic side in India, there's no condemnation from Joe Biden or Rishi Sunak. They say, well, it's none of our business. India's government are doing that. They're still dealing with them. When we say, can you please just get rid of foreign criminals and anybody who's advocating for treason and illegal migrants, please, we get reported to the Human Rights Commission. Hey, there's no consistency. They're all a bunch of hypocrites. It's absolute chaos. They think we're idiots, don't they? Another super chat from Wavy Discs. Thank you so much. Saying, please bring on Paul Joseph Watson and do more videos with Tommy. Actually, I'm seeing Tommy on Monday. I'm going to be in his documentary. He's interviewing me on something. We have actually talked to Paul before. He's focusing on other type of topics anyway, in terms of the other threats, cultural threats. We'll find out. We'll see what happens in the future. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Said, your video was shown on the Ben Shapiro show yesterday. Oh dear. Well, thanks for letting me know. And GB Patriot says, Maya, do you think all this unrest is being stirred up as a distraction from what the Tories are up to? No, I mean, there are a lot of times when you have distraction. There are a lot of times you have false narrative and all this stuff. This is just the Tories being completely incompetent all over the place. Now, there are other things that the government is doing which is completely chaotic and they're distracting you. But when it comes, this is just basic governance. This is just basic stuff when it comes to what we're talking about, the police and, of course, the protesters. I can assure you, I know the Tories, I know those politicians, they are just clueless. They are absolutely clueless. They have no idea what they're doing because they don't want to do anything that will affect their election. Every political party and political leader wants to make sure they win elections or not lose. So they would do anything in their power, at least on the surface, to make it seem like they are in control. They are fixing the problems. But they can't even do that. At least people like Tony Blair, they were good actors and good liars. They could deceive you. They could distract you. They could say, yes, I am Tony Blair and I really suddenly care about the church. Yeah, because he was a Christian, obviously, as a Republican as well. It was really confusing. But then they're coming out. Tony Blair was able to distract you, to lie to you, and at times people fell for it. They're like, well, he's convincing. Back in the day, when he was still Prime Minister. Rishi Rishi Sunak as our mini prime minister. He can't even do that properly. He can't even lie properly because the man doesn't even know how to be a politician. It's hilarious. It's the state of the country. People saying, "Oh, I feel sorry for America. They have only two options, Trump and Biden." Look at our situation. At least they have a choice. In America, there's a clear choice. Two very different approaches, Trump and Biden. I mean, it's not going to be Biden anyway, as a candidate, I don't think. In this country, what is the difference between Rishi and Keir Starmer? One of them drinks beer, the other one drinks, I don't know, gin and tonic probably. Keir drinks beer because Keir Beer Starmer. And he's an Arsenal supporter. No one's perfect. Yeah. Super chat from Bellatrix. Thank you very much. I've not been receiving notifications for your live streams for a while now. The bell icon is on. Are you being censored or is YouTube censoring my radical art? I've just stumbled upon this video. This has always been a thing. And it's not really just about political channels or right-wing channels or anything like that. Even normal, YouTube couldn't really explain it properly. They essentially said, if it depends on the user, the account, how many accounts you subscribe to, how many channels, and how many of them you've clicked on the notification bell. And when you click on notification, you have to make sure to click on all, not personalized. I think it's a terrible excuse that they are giving out. I think the system doesn't fully function, because if you just subscribe to a few channels and you click on all notification for two of them, you should get the notification when there's a live update or whatever, or a video is published, because you're supposed to get notification for all. But I don't know. Just double check to see if you clicked on all instead of personalized. But it happens. The best thing to do, unfortunately, just manually check the channel. But don't worry. When we launch, don't worry about this. I'm going to do a plug. Ready? Getting good at this now. When we launch Tousi TV Plus, the new platform, which will be alongside YouTube. Don't worry, YouTube's not going anywhere. This will actually complement YouTube, because you will be able to get notifications, hopefully. If I do what I'm trying to do the right way, you will be able to use that to get notified when we go live, when we get a video and everything else. So it's going to be good. In the words of Trump, it will be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Why do I keep doing that? What is going on in the live chat? Do we have any chaos? Any spammers? Any trolls? Come on, I'm bored. He says, I would go to church, but most of the times now the doors are locked. That's the country I live in, the UK. There's a lot of inactivity when it comes to a lot of churches, by the way, around the country as well. Simon Folder says 3,180 people watching. Actually, 3,133 now. It's gone down. Only 122 likes. No, the likes are actually up. You have to refresh the page, but it's still a good point, because only 1,634 people have liked. So click thumbs up. They say it helps. I don't know. Conspiracy theories. Apparently helps the channel. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on this live stream. And there is going to be another live update. I might do it later or might do it tomorrow. I don't know if I'm in the mood. It's about what Lee Anderson did today. Reform UK's first MP, obviously by defection, and decided to grill a representative from a Church of England. That's going to be a juicy video as well. I might actually just do it tomorrow, because we're going to focus on a lot of things tomorrow before we go to Manchester. Make sure to buy your tickets. The link is in the description if you haven't already. The Pagan Viking, that's the last super chat. Thank you. Saying, why do Muslims have ham in their name? What? Oh, yes. That's a very good question. Somebody needs to do some scrutiny. You've been watching Tousi TV. I'm Maya Tousi, and we are the media.